what were your other tips in terms of preparing for those different sections of the English exam?
When everyone else was like reaching a massive peak, in the 3 or 4 days before the English, I was actually tapering a little bit. I think it's good I did backload all your stuff and then kind of let your mind relax a little bit. And so in those, maybe like the week before, I would just I'd have like paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, paper 2, for like 6 days or something. So like, 3 of each. I sometimes I would do like the whole section in one go, but then other times I'd do like the essay and then in the morning, and then like the short answers in the afternoon.
And were you going into those with a core essay memorized? You said you did know a bunch of other quotes from reading those texts, but did you have a core essay that you memorized for each of the modules?
No, not one core essay, but I had arguments that I would basically mix and match. So depending on the question, I had maybe like 6 or 7 arguments like that I really liked and I really liked talking about. And I could go into other ones, but it just wasn't as good as when I used like some of my favorite arguments. So then I would maybe choose like out of that 6 for each section, I would maybe choose 3.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an amazing approach, really. I think a lot of students just kind of have the core one memorized, which is honestly a very practical way to do it, as long as you're going to answer the question on the day. But to actually go in with a variety of arguments and then adapt to the day, it's probably a lot more uncommon. And I think it's an admirable way of doing it, but it probably takes a lot of work. And as you said, you have to really be doing a lot of papers to get familiar with using those arguments for different questions.
Yeah, and it all comes down to how you tie them together as well. So you can have quite different arguments, but tie them together in a really nice, like sustained thesis. And that's probably where the practice comes in, is building a thesis around your arguments to sort of.
What was your approach to the craft of writing?
Craft of writing was one where I had a couple of prepared pieces, but I had one discursive that I really liked, which I was lucky enough to be able to use on the day. In that lead up to the HSC, I would just do sort of some exercises where I would give myself 5 minutes to write something random, and then like no stimulus or anything, and then I'd have like a minute off, and then I'd do another 5 minutes, and then every time I had to sort of come up with something random, and it just sort of gets your brain working in that imaginative way to come up with new ideas when you're presented with a blank slate.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And that's something everyone can do in their preparation as well.